So why is OFCCP going to come knocking on my door? I don't, what are they doing? They do this through compliance evaluations, also called audits, kind of like the IRS. Nobody likes it, but it happens. Investigating complaints. They are a complaint agency. A lot of people don't realize that. Let's talk about what really begins enforcement. What we have is called a corporate scheduling announcement letter, or a CSAL. This is a heads up letter. It's a courtesy letter. It's not the beginning of an audit. It's not the OFCCP saying, we're here, give us your information, give us your data. It is essentially the OFCCP saying, sometime in the next year maybe month, maybe 6 months, we really don't know, we're going to come and audit you. So what do I do if I receive a CSAL? The first thing you need to do is say, okay, what is OFCCP so focused on right now? Because it changes. It changes with OFCCP directors. It changes with political administrations. So again, the lawyer from Washington up here is telling you politics matter. Politics definitely matter when it comes to federal contractors, because again, President Obama can take executive action anytime, and it directly affects companies that are federal contractors. This is my point where I'm going to stop and give everyone a little brief intro to how regulatory making is done. If you already know this, bear with me. What happens a lot of times is the president will say, I want to see this, or we have Congress pass a law, and then the federal agencies have to create regulations that implement those laws. It's very important because those regulations are what make it so that you have to do the things you do every day. Okay, so what we had here is we had President Obama say, you know what, I want federal contractors to submit to the government information on employee compensation by race and sex and ethnicity. OFCCP, make regulations. So OFCCP has done that. They put out proposed regulations in August. That's that first one there. It's called the Equal Pay Report. I'll go over that in a little bit more detail. The second one, President Obama, actually on the same day as the first one, said, you know what, OFCCP? I don't like it that people can't talk about their pay. Think about Lilly Ledbetter. Think about all these problems we have, bringing cases, or people have compensation disparities. There's unlawful discrimination in compensation. Let's make it so that federal contractors can't have pay secrecy policies. So OFCCP put out proposed regulations in September. The comment period for those closes in December. But again, this changes the way you federal contractors regulate your workforce. But really the point is, you need to be thinking about this so we understand, okay, if OFCCP comes knocking, what are they going to want to talk to me about? Compensation. That's what they're going to be interested in, because that's what's happening on the national level, and they're going to be interested in your non-discrimination policies. Whether or not these regulations are final, fair or not fair, it's going to happen. So we need to be aware of what they're focused on, what they're talking about. So the first one, as I said, these set your focus, is this Equal Pay Report. What it's going to require if the proposed regulation does become final as proposed, and we think it probably will be something close to this. You're going to have a new form that's modeled on the EEO-1 that includes your W-2 earnings for employees. That is, again, it's a chart, and you chart out by each EEO-1 job group, W-2 earnings by sex, race, ethnicity, the hours worked for those employees, and the number of employees, so that OFCCP can essentially break down what the hourly component is for these employees that you have. Pay transparency. This is another one. Again, I talked about Lilly Ledbetter, President Obama saying, we need to be talking about pay at work. What's the problem? This is actually something that the National Labor Relations Act has already been requiring for years of employees. What the OFCCP's regulations will do is essentially bring in your applicants, your supervisors, rail, air carriers, things like that are all federal contractors. And what it will be is you cannot discriminate against or take adverse action against an applicant or an employee because they inquired, discussed, or disclosed compensation of themselves, their compensation, or somebody else's. What this does not mean is that if I come up to your HR office and I say, I want to know the compensation of everybody on my team or on my floor, you're not giving that out. That's not what this means. So don't worry, but it does mean that you need to take a look at those policies you probably have, and maybe dust them off and say, well, wait a minute, we do have something that says compensation is confidential, that type of thing, and those things will need to be revised when we have final regulations to comport with this. Again, if you're a federal contractor, and if you're not, again, the National Labor Relations Act already sort of fits in this area. So again, this is sort of an overview. Compliance officers are always looking at what's coming, which isn't always necessarily appropriate, but we need to be aware that this is what they're looking at. Compensation is a big one, and again, sex discrimination in all of its forms.